batted around in my thinking a long, long time. John chapter 1, verse 1 just bugs me. The way I'm built, I overanalyze everything. But it just bugs me to read this and wonder, why did they say it? Well, I've done a lot of studying since Esther said on Monday, Steve, you got Wednesday. Oh. So, computer didn't get used as much as it used to. Yeah. Studying, it's great. And I have to give credit to one of the people that I actually went to, in the books that I've got. A.W. Pink is borrow from him. I want to share with you some of the things that I wrestled with first. Let's just read this first couple, 3 verses, 4 verses, 5 verses, and then let's talk about it. John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him. Without him, nothing was made that was made. In him was life. Life, light of men. And the light shines in the darkness. The darkness did not comprehend it. Now, if I was an unsaved person, I'd look at that and say, what is all of that about? As a saved person, I look at that and said, what? So, is there a verse that you can think of? And I'll give you a hint. In Colossians, perhaps, it says something like this. All things were made through him, and without him, nothing was made that was made. Yes, there is. And that verse is referring to whom? Jesus Christ. And I know that if people are watching or listening, you can't hear what these people are saying. Neither can I. Okay? So, all things are made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. There's a verse in Colossians, almost exactly like that, talking about Jesus Christ. Now, the him here then that we're talking, and I know I skipped verse 1, I went to 2, I want to come back. If the him that we're talking to in verse 2 we've established because of Colossians is Jesus Christ, this him is referring back to Word. So evidently, the Word is a person. Okay? This is one of the reasons verse 1 is like this. In the beginning was the Word. Word is a title, label to a person. That's the name of the person then. And then it says, and the Word was with God. Oh, there's a lot to be. And the Word was God. So here's got 3 things. In the beginning, the Word was there. He was there. The Word was with God. He was not only God. He was with God, as if God is another person. You have evidence to show that there's actually 3 persons in Godhead. And what this is talking about is that the Word is the Son of God. So in the beginning, he was there. Now, I just said a mouthful. That one word. What beginning? Beginning of the gospel? Beginning of the world? Beginning of creation? What beginning? He was there. And does that include him to be part of that beginning? That's when he began? Oh, it says in the beginning he was already there. That's basically what that's saying. He was already there watching everything, part of everything, doing everything. He was there. He was not created ever, much less at the beginning. He was already there. That's for us. We have a beginning. Our earth has a beginning. Our all of creation, the world has a beginning. But he was already there. He's been there waiting for all this stuff to start. When the beginning began, he was already there. So when it says, in the beginning was the Word, that's what he's talking about, was the Word. And now here's a clue. How many wases in that? Hold up your fingers. Got enough of one. I got a vote for 3. I got another vote for 3. I got a vote over here for 4 and another vote for 4. 4s are right. In the beginning was the Word. That in Greek is ito, I-T-O. I had to learn this the hard way. I'm not a Greek scholar. I took a semester. And then all 4 of those wases are ito. There is another word used for was in the. It's exgeneto. Exgeneto. Hear the geneto. That word actually means becoming. But that's not the word used in that verse. It's the one used in the second verse. All things were epigeneto through him, and without him nothing was epigeneto. But you don't find that in the beginning epigeneto, the word was becoming the word, was being created. It's not there. It's ito. Ito means established, done, already there, static. Okay? Nothing about creation. Nothing about being made. There. And so the word itu with God. Not God the Father, but with God the Father. So the first one tells us that he was already there. The second part tells us that he was part of the Godhead. Not God the Father, but part of the Godhead. And then it tells us also that even though he was apart from the God the Father, he was still God. He was part of the God. See that? It says the word was God. He was in the beginning with God. Then the next one tells us that he's the one that did all the creating. Now, when I have looked at this down through the years, I got hung up on word. What is that? Just a title? One thing that really skated me down the hill of trying to figure this out was Jenny was trying to teach me Portuguese. In her Portuguese Bible, it says, in the beginning was the verb. The English teachers here? A verb is an action word. Oh, that really puts a little flavor on that thing. In the beginning was a word. Now it's in the beginning was a verb, an action word. And it says it over and over again. And the verb was with God, and the verb was God. He was in the beginning with God. That's how it says it in Portuguese. Wow, that really, I thought that was really great. Now you're all looking at me like, next. But to me, that was a big deal to discover that, hey, there's a dimension to this word that I hadn't known before. And I was really hung up on that. Let me just read that to you, and I think you'll get it with me. That's the Greek. Hold on a second. All right. In the Portuguese, it's no principio era o verbo. In the beginning was word, and the verbo estava was with on Deus, and the verbo is Deus, era Deus. Okay, that's what she said. And when I was reading the Portuguese Bible, verb. And so I really pressed her hard about this, and it wasn't until this week that I got an answer that I liked. Because I said, is that the way you, what's the word for word in Portuguese? And she said, verbo. I said, no, that's verb. What's the word for word? Well, she gave me today, after years, thinking that's the only word you got to say, oh, and all the variables of the alphabet or of the book are. No, it's not. There's some other word like this that she gave me. I should have written it down. But today, she told me what the word was for word. This is a word for verb. It's not the same word as action. Losing a couple of it. Another fun one. I like to read the different languages to see if I can get it. German. Im Anfang war das Wort. Word. Das Wort was by God. Or by Gott. And Gott war das Wort. Same as English, exactly. In fact, almost the wording spelling. Wort, W-O-R-T, W-O-R-D. Okay? And Anfang is beginning. War is was. Okay? The syllable war and Anfang by Gott. With God. So Martin Luther translated this, and in fact, our English Bible our translators reached over and borrowed from him. So that's how come it's almost exactly word for word for word, the same as our English Bible. It's just in German wasn't that hard. I'm really glad I took it in high school because it was a lot better than taking French. You know, French can put a whole bunch of letters out there, and none of them are pronounced. I used to read books, you know, and I come along in a book and I see voila. Never heard what that was, but it looked like a violin or something. But voila, that's voila. It means like voila. You know? And here, as a reader, without looking it up, voila. What's that word? It's French. And see, voila and voila, they don't even look alike. They certainly don't pronounce the way I learned to pronounce it. So I'm really glad I took German instead of French. But my wife can understand French because it is a Romance language. So she gets it. She can understand Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, and French. I can tell her in the movies country they're in. But she can understand all those languages. All right, so in the beginning was the Word, the verb, and the Word was with God, not necessarily a God, the Father, but he was with God. And the Word was God. So they're all one of the best things for coming up with the Trinity there is, except it's only talking about two aspects of the Trinity. And that all things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. Again, that was made was geneto. In him was life, and the life is the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. Can you just put your thinking caps on and your imagination hard at work and try to figure out how in the world you would translate spiritual, physical realm? We're talking about God is spirit, the Father of spirit. Now he's going to talk to a flesh and blood person, humanity. How do you translate something we can't see, hear, touch, understand, translate that to something we can understand? That's how come, even though he was the life giver, and the life was the light of men, him, and the light shined in our darkness, we couldn't understand. If you look up Hebrews 1:1, just look at that. That's the verse where it tells about how, well, let's just look at it. Somebody else open it up.